Estoy listo. Well, welcome to Costa Rica. My name is Johnny from Johnny Knows Costa Rica. Today we got Pablo. Pablo,
Hey.
what are you doing here?
Well,
I see you're playing around with my stuff.
I'm visiting and getting to know your place. I'm amazed of this clinic you have here in San Carlos. I wanted to check your equipment, your stuff, and thank you for letting me be in your channel. And I'm wondering, where is your Costa Rica hat?
Well, Costa Rica has a vacation right now, but it's coming back. Well, Pablo, you know what? You do movie. What are you visiting me for?
Well, I like to travel Costa Rica, and I visit just Costa Rica or Mexico, the countries we are in. We like to travel and meet with everyone in the community as much as possible. We've seen your channel, and we wanted to get to know you in person. So lucky, I have finally met you in person.
All this time, I see you in the videos yourself. You're doing all this crazy stuff, going to these meets and greets, and that new expat community you did in Mexico. It's also really cool, and even the Costa Rica, wow,
Yeah, I'm a people's person. I like to connect with people. The expat community is one of those things that it's a benefit for the community. It's a benefit if you're new to Costa Rica or you're new to Mexico, or you want to build your connections. You're new in town. You have to make sure you get to know the right people. Those Facebook groups, it's just a tool for us to do that. It's also a tool to share inside information, local news. It's a tool to connect, learn Spanish. Those are the things we do.
Something that I've always loved is the word community.
Yeah.
The community is so important, right?
It is. We are way better together. We tend to forget. We are individuals, right? We are doing different things. We have different plans. But when we find the right people, when we connect with the right people, we're twice as better. If we get the third one, then we are 3 times better. Great things are built. Great things cannot be built alone. So community is important to me. We want to make great things. So this is why I'm wanting to connect with you, to people like Michael Allen or Sarah. There are many others that at least in the Costa Rican community are doing the work of making the information available for the newcomer. And this is an issue. It is an issue that we're solving, regardless of we know Sarolena has a relocation service that helps people, so that's a business. We know Michael Allen has Travel to Costa Rica Now, which is a traveling agency. That's a business. So obviously people are going to come to these businesses and be customers, right? And it's a financial part of it, but we're providing a solution of a super important issue. I don't know if you guys are researching Costa Rica, you know this. You have a question about how to get a driver's license. Nobody knows. And the information that you find is a website from like 10 years ago. Things are
that happens here in Costa Rica?
every day. The same thing happens in Mexico. The same thing happens in Panama. Everywhere is information out there online. It's really all. So the service of leadership that I see a lot of this our friends are providing is so useful, because when people come, they wanna get things done in Costa Rica. Oftentimes they make the mistake of doing it wrong, and they end up costing them literally hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars, because they just didn't know one simple little detail. So the more information we put out there, we're helping somebody out there. That's how I feel.
They're doing the community of service.
Yeah.
And what do you think about the country now as a whole, as it's changing, as it's aging now? What do you think about that? We're moving a lot of expats from the States and Canada and different parts of the world, but they're coming as retirees, and the population here in Costa Rica is growing, right? Retirees and the senior community. What do you foresee that?
It's interesting. It's interesting. A couple of things. A lot of our customers, I've been doing this for like almost 15 years. This October will be 15. For years, most of my customer base The people that reach out to us are seniors. They are either retired or about to retire in the 58, 59, 60 years old. So we have a lot of experience and met a lot of people who are retired. They want to live their dream. They work their entire life, and they now wanted to go to Guanacaste, get a property on the ocean, maybe move to Fortuna or to San Carlos and enjoy their retirement time. So it is true, we are having a big number of retirees moving to our country. And also, it is true that Costa Rica also have a growing group of the population that are seniors. That's for sure.
Do you know, Pablo, since I do healthcare, I know a little bit about that.
Well, that's what you do, right?
Yeah. But one of the things that really interesting is that the statistic right now in 2024, 10% of the population now, which is about 500,000 people, is all seniors. That's not including the retirees that are coming in, because they're not taking that into account. It's 500,000. The projected number for 2032 is 1.2 million
Wow.
seniors, which means it's going to be over 20% of the population currently in Costa Rica.
That's a lot.
In healthcare, a lot of people when they move, do they talk about healthcare with you to understand?
Honestly, very few people even think about the healthcare, and I understand why that might be. Like that, they're wanting to make their dream come true. I'm going to Costa Rica. I'm gonna maybe Costa Rica, the cost of living is less, not necessarily depending on where you're coming from. Maybe Costa Rica, I have this, experience that I had just traveling. Traveling for every year, 2 weeks every year, whatever. So they don't really have that in their mind. It's hard to picture because it's a negative picture. I mean, nobody wants to picture the worst. They usually are very positive. Most people tend to be positive about life. So getting ready, preparing yourself, it's not something that goes into our topics. It's just very few people even think about their age or maybe healthcare in general.
I want you guys to think about what Pablo just said. A lot of times you move to Costa Rica to live that dream, but a lot of times you have to face reality and being honest with ourselves that we are going to get older, we are going to need other services, and when you choose to live, it's going to determine the amount of services that you have available. And this, in turn, the quality of life in the future, because we don't know if we're going to need services. And if you live in a rural remote area, sometimes those services are limited. And even in the public healthcare system, the farther away you are from the greater metropolitan area, the gamma, you're going to have less services. And it's something that, yes, you're right, it's kind of like a voodoo that you don't want to talk about, that, or even the worst, passing away in Costa Rica. Some people don't even understand what logistics is for that. It's crazy, but Pablo, in summary, what do you think about when you're moving and you see people coming and going? In summary, Costa Rica, they're making it their country, but in the moving process, you make it easier. But what do you think as a takeaway for people that should know when they are choosing here, whether it's for health, whether it's to dream or what do you see as Costa Rica being that savior?
I mean, I think Costa Rica is one of the most popular places. It's in the top. It's 100%. There is an entire economy that is created by people who are looking to move to Costa Rica. So we are on the top of the countries for many reasons. I think the country is beautiful. People in Costa Rica.
You're Costa Rican, though. Why is it? It's beautiful.
Yeah. I'm a Costa Rican, but I'm always, if you see me talking in interviews, I always want to try to put a perspective of, I want to make, how do you say, as transparent.
Be safe on both sides, be fair.
I want to give, by the way, I spent a lot of time in Panama. I love Panama as well. I love Costa Rica. I spent a lot of time in Mexico. So I want to give a general perspective that is more honest and general and is fair for all the other countries as well. We have an office in Nicaragua as well, another country that people could pick and choose. Looking to wanted to start doing more business in Portugal. So this is kind of like my perspective in general because of my business. It's a bit more international. When you're asking me about Costa Rica, and I know you do a lot of business in Mexico.
Yeah.
You do business in Mexico as well. So, but when you're asking me about Costa Rica, I can point out, I'm sure about it. Is Costa Rica people is super friendly. We have a beautiful country. This is a small country as well. A small country that has good things and that has some negative things or some things that make things a little bit harder because it's like we're not an island, but it's like an island. We're a smaller country, a smaller economy, so a lot of things that you might want to find and look for are not going to be available in the local market, things like that. So it's interesting that to me this is good. A small country, everybody knows each other too. So if you do one thing good, you get the reputation for that. If you do one thing bad, you get the reputation for that.
That's bigger.
So it's and it gets 10x whatever happens if you deal with somebody that does something wrong to you, everybody will know tomorrow.
It's kind of like in the States. It's kind of like having a small town.
It is
in your country. Pablo, I have my own feeling about Costa Rica, and I can tell the viewers here that look, when you're thinking about Costa Rica, and one of the things that why we live here and why we live and breathe this is that you're able to see the interaction with people. You're able to do things that you're able to talk to somebody that, yesterday when we were having that dinner last night here in San Carlos, and San Carlos is very famous for this, is that the waiter starts talking to our conversation and just starts talking about something that we shared, and then for the most part we're like, well, why is he listening to our conversation? But he was so excited to talk to you and just have that conversation.
Friendly, that's what I'm saying. Costa Rica people in general, for the most part, you're gonna find a lot of friendly people. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
So you're moving somewhere, you want to connect with people. This is me. If I'm moving somewhere, I want to connect with people, or at least figure out ways to connect with people, build community, build connections. So Costa Ricans makes it easier. There are many other benefits. I think healthcare in Costa Rica is one of the best. If you put other countries, I'll say Panama, Costa Rica, Mexico. Costa Rica has a lot of benefits in general. Public healthcare, it's not the best, it's not a 5-star hotel, but you can get a solution, right?
Pablo, what I'm going to tell you about healthcare in Costa Rica? The
I'm
5-star.
going to tell you a little bit.
You know what about the healthcare is that everybody here, whether you're Pablo, whether you're John, whether you're Shirley, you have the right to healthcare here. They're not going to deny you at the door. They're going to take care of you. They're going to operate if they have to. And they're not going to say, you couldn't afford it, because the law 8239 and the Constitution provides that guarantee. And sometimes from the country, when I lived my entire life in the U.S., sometimes that's something that we don't have.
I'm going to throw a question at you though.
Oh, shoot.
And I want to play what do you say, the devil lawyer?
Yeah, the devil's advocate.
The devil. I'm going to play the bad guy here.
Okay.
Bad cop. You be the good cop. Or whatever, I don't know.
Okay,
Good cop.
I'll be Costa Rica.
Anyway, if Costa Rican healthcare and the Constitution and the law in Costa Rica allows everybody to have healthcare, why do they need green healthcare in Costa Rica? Why do they need your services?
Because green healthcare, as private or public, cannot handle everything. So you have 5 million people here in Costa Rica. The Caja Costera Center, which is the public healthcare system, only has 63,000 total employees.
63,000 employees.
Okay, not all of them are doctors. And they only have 1,200 medical facilities and 500 devices, which that means that you cover a big territory, but you don't cover it all. And then you have the private healthcare system, and that's not even 1/10 of the size of that. that can't take care of everything. So sometimes when both of them are logged down and you need some advice, then Green Healthcare comes in. But there's plenty of room for everybody to work and to work in this country and provide the healthcare. So Green Healthcare here to provide that cushion, that safety net, so if you have a question or you're stuck into the system, that you can answer it, because we know the law, we know the medical law of what things are.
It's complex, and I know, dealing with government, Costa Rica, Caja, healthcare, it could be a headache.
Oh, yeah.
Getting an appointment, you get an appointment. I had a surgery, by the way. This is an example. I had a surgery, and I went also. This is another case. I went to the hospital for this was two years ago. Went to the hospital for 3 weeks through COVID. I had really bad case of COVID. They treated me. I didn't have to pay anything. 3 weeks hospital. It wasn't a nice, 5-star hotel, and the food was terrible, by the way. But I
wasn't good.
No, but I was glad. I mean, I was really afraid for my life. Like, honestly, I was like, I'm either gonna make it or I'm gonna die. I don't know. So I was afraid, right?
Pablo, you know how much that costs each day at that public hospital?
Don't have a clue.
It's actually between $2,500 and $35 a day.
$3,000.
In a public hospital.
Oh, wow. So I was 22 days, $3,000 per day. Well, $66,000.
That's what you said.
Wow. So it didn't cost me anything. I was glad, and the food wasn't good, but I was just eating because I was like, I wanted to get out of this situation. I was so, and I had people in my room, 6 beds. One night, one guy was like, he's not gonna make it tonight. We had the doctors come in and we had the nurses come in, prep him to get it out of the room, and it was bad, man. They got him out, and he didn't make it that night. So I'm glad that I made it. After that, now this entire story, I wasn't going to say this, but this entire thing is after I got out of that COVID situation, which I'm glad I have this.
You got this opportunity in life.
Blessing. It is a blessing. You've been treated for 3 weeks. Didn't pay anything. They call me 3 months later, and I have your appointment. So an employee from la Caja, I have your your appointment, a follow-up appointment for your. I needed to do some breathing for my lungs, breathing exercises, and to follow up on my health. Yeah, when is it? Well, it's in December 20 something, on 2028. It was like
7 years ago.
Like 5 years. It was like crazy. What do you mean? Yeah, your appointment is in 5 years. The next available appointment for those follow-up check things from the government, free healthcare, it's years. I had to wait for years. I feel fine, so I didn't even follow up on this. I feel very good after that.
That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do follow up.
Anyway, but I just didn't went to the doctor after that. I started eating better, doing exercise, and have better. Went to swimming again and things like that. So I feel better. But it was just easier for me if I wanted to have that follow up. Just pay, a private doctor to do those follow up checks. Not wait for like 5 years. So that's the thing, you have good health care because it protects you legally by law, but the system is definitely overwhelmed. It's stressed.
Oh, definitely. No, the system, I'll do a brief snippet because the system does have, in occupation of beds, it has 60% of the system is seniors occupying the beds. So that means that there's only 40% of the beds available for regular citizens. Which means it's the 1/10 of what's available. So you don't have adequate, but they do what they can. We can't push on the system. What we have to do is be part of the solution. That's something that I'm working on probably with the system. I put in my petitions to in front of the Caja system to say, hey, you know what? We need a system that has a preventative, like with the call that you got, but just not 8 years later. It should be at least something manageable, or even trying to leverage the private system when the public can't do it. But Pablo, you know what? Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, this was a pretty good.
Yeah, you know what?
Love it.
Yeah, you got really personal. We didn't expect
I
that.
didn't expect that. I really felt like I'm blessed.
Yes, no, we are blessed to be in a country that you can open your lungs and breathe and not have this smog in your face. Now, there's some times that they got some stuff coming down, but hey, you know what? We're okay. Well, you know what? I hope you like this. It was an impromptu interview here. He came visit to me. I'm like, you know, what are you doing here? But I'm glad that Pablo visited me. Pura vida and always be safe.
Ciao.